Hey guys, welcome to another Texas Bolt Action Battle Report. Got a very special battle for you today. I'm here with my good friend Mark, and we're going to be playing the Attack on Altavia scenario from the Duel in the Sun book. It's going to be a little bit modified, as you can see. We only have one layer of hills here, and we've actually pushed it out where it's a little bit closer to the table edge. But for the most part, it's still going to be the same. We pushed it over to the corner, but the Americans are going to be coming across pretty relatively open ground, trying to take this Sicilian town from the Germans. So we're in Sicily right now, Operation Husky. I'm going to go ahead and begin with what the Americans have. We actually brought with us today a second lieutenant, an inexperienced second lieutenant for that matter. He's going to be trying to lead a platoon of 4 regular squads. And we also have 2 full squads of, or 10-man squads of inexperienced troops. So I kind of wanted to capture that, that frustration of the American Army at this point in the war, of second lieutenant who's kind of inexperienced, trying to lead a platoon of mixed quality. But they have been given 2 machine gun teams for support, and as well as a regular medium mortar, a regular medic, and then they've also been given a tank, and regular Sherman M4, and a unit of transport, a deuce-and-a-half truck. That's going to help out a little bit, and they're also going to get a preliminary bombardment, but that's it, because after that the attack has to begin, and they're going to try to take these Germans and push them off of this hill. So their mission is that they've got to clear this entire town, the entire hillside of Germans. So it's going to be pretty rough going. We also have rough ground all around the hill, so they have to advance up the vine-covered slopes. So I'll go over with what the Germans have right quick. I've got a veteran first lieutenant. He's got a Fallschirmjäger and or I guess it's a Heer Grenadier lieutenant, kind of jointly commanding. They're going to have 4 Heer squads, 4 regular squads with light machine guns. We've got a regular medium machine gun team, as well as a regular Nebelwerfer. There's going to be a Stug supporting for anti-tank. There's going to be a regular sniper, and then we have 1 veteran squad of Fallschirmjäger that are also going to be supported by a transport unit, a half-track Hanomag. So the rules for this state that the German vehicles have to come on the sides of the table. So they're going to be, and they also have to, so they have to be an outflank, and they also are not allowed on the hill. So the hill is considered impassable to all vehicles. So that's going to be kind of interesting. So we're going to go ahead and deploy, and then we will go ahead and conduct the preliminary bombardment, and we'll let you know how that goes, so stay tuned. All right, guys, we're back after a deployment and a preliminary bombardment. So the Germans set up a squad inside this house, and they took a direct hit. So they took a pin. Actually, I don't think it was a direct hit. It was just close by. This squad did take a direct hit, however, and took 3 pins and lost a man. The sniper took 3 pins and lost, or sorry, took how many pins did he take? 4 pins. Actually, took 4 pins. We just didn't put him down. But he lost his helper, so he's actually going to be all by himself to begin the game. The Nebelwerfer also took a direct hit, lost a man, took 2 pins. So it's pretty hard bombardment here, but the Germans are dug in pretty good. This squad, medium machine gun team in here, also took a hit close by, took a pin. So the U.S. have assembled over here. They brought out their inexperienced squads first. In the first wave, we have a regular machine gun team, inexperienced squad getting ready to go. They're supported by their lieutenant here in the trees, as well as a second medium machine gun. We've got another medium squad held over here behind this wall, taking up position by the mortar team. The mortar has his spotter up here in the balcony, so he's got a pretty good view of the town. And that's pretty much it. We've got everybody else in reserve. Mark's vehicles will not be able to come in until turn 3. And my men can't come in until turn 2. So we're going to go ahead and play this first turn, and we will let you know what happened. Stay tuned. Hey guys, we're coming in here after the end of turn one. So we'll start with over here. The inexperienced people, or the inexperienced GIs, just moved out just right in front of this machine gun so that he was unable to fire this turn. He had to go into ambush. And they took serious machine gun fire both from this window and from this building over here through a rat hole from the MG42. So they ended up taking about 4 casualties. So they're down to, or actually I guess they took 3 casualties because they were a 10-man squad. So they're down to 7 men. We've got another inexperienced squad that moved up to this orchard right here. This machine gun opened fire on the men over here where the fire came from in this building, but didn't manage to hit anybody. The second lieutenant, being as inexperienced as he is, and the fact that there's a sniper over there, just decided to go down for the time being, so he's hanging back in the back. The mortar fired at the men in the front building as well, but didn't manage to hit, so they're ranging in, and that's what this explosion is here. So the reserves are going to start coming in on this next turn, hopefully, but so far the American attack is off to a bad start. Oh, let's talk about what the Germans did. This sniper just rallied. He was pinned pretty badly. This squad passed their orders test, obviously opened fire on the inexperienced squad in the open, as well as the MG42. But everybody else just took this time to kind of take stock and rally. So this squad ended up rallying and shedding all of its pins. Nebel Warfare did the same, as well as the sniper, which we covered earlier. So yeah, so now we're going to go ahead and play turn 2, and we will be back shortly to let you know how it happened. Stay tuned. All right, we're back after turn 2. Turn 2 began with the inexperienced squad taking more fire. Obviously, they had already lost their NCO, but they took another pin, took some more casualties from machine gun fire from both inside this house and over here. They also took fire, or actually this team over here advanced up, took fire from the sniper, who didn't manage to hit anybody, and the sniper actually foobarred and fired on his own men over here inside this building, but still didn't manage to hit anybody. This squad received fire from this squad inside here. So they also, or no, I'm sorry. Actually, at that point in time, they had already fired. So this squad actually moved up and took shots at this house and managed to get a pin on it and kill one. That house also took fire from this machine gun in the woods. But this machine gun opening in the woods drew fire from the Nebelwerfer, and it completely obliterated this position but didn't hit anybody, but it scared the officer enough that he ran forward. So he is next to his men currently, trying to get them up. He's also pretty frightened himself, probably. We had a squad of regulars move on and take up old positions in the tree line here, as well as this regular squad over here, following behind the inexperienced squad. The tank was supposed to show up this turn, but it ended up just going down, so it still hasn't shown up. And the truck with the other reinforcements and the medic have also not showed up this turn. The mortar fired a round and zeroed in on this building, but the round exploded on top of the roof, so the men inside are safe for the time being. And but it's ranged in on them, so that's going to be difficult. Meanwhile, Mark brought on some reinforcements. A squad of men moved on into these ruins, as well as the officer team over here, taking up a position by the Nebelwerfer. And the MG42 fired at this squad in the trees over here, and only managed to score a pin on them. No deaths. So that's how it's shaken out so far. Slow going for the Americans. This squad ended up going down when they were fired. That's why they haven't moved yet. So anyway, yeah, so we're going to go ahead and play this third turn, and it's still going to be a slog, so stay tuned. Hey guys, we're back. We're actually back in the middle of turn 3. I'm sorry that in the middle of turn 4. I forgot to actually film at the end of turn 3, so it's just been so action-packed. I'm going to fill you in now, though, and let you know what's going on. Basically, last game, earlier in the game, the Sherman fired at this building and scored a direct hit and took out the entire squad to the side. The mortar had also ranged in on the building earlier, but only managed to blow the roof off the top again and didn't kill anybody. We decided those pan tile roofs were keeping them safe. Meanwhile, these men charged up this hill and took a lot of fire from these guys and these guys, and that's in this turn, at the beginning of this turn. These men advanced up, and we had other squads go ahead and start making their way up the hill. This squad has killed the sniper so far. The Germans, though, did do a human snap 2, and they poured all of their fire into the squad, removing some men. We had this Nebelwerfer fired as part of the human snap 2, but didn't manage to hit anybody over here, except for the medium machine gun. So the medium machine gun is no more. It took a direct hit and it's gone. Meanwhile, the mortar has tried to range in on the Nebelwerfer. This machine gun hasn't moved yet. One of the last things that happened during Mark's turn was this vehicle brought its Fallschirmjäger up and began to advance them into the woods. At the same time, the American reinforcements came onto the table, and they decided that there was something afoot here, something didn't look right, so they put a squad in this building that's going to be covering the orchard, and they're currently on ambush. And the medic jumped out of the truck, ran up here to see who he could help. He's doing okay. That pin's not supposed to be there. Yeah, I'm sorry for the confused take. It's just been chaos. We also had the officer killed last turn by a Nebelwerfer strike. And actually, yeah, I should go over that. That happened last turn. It took out an entire inexperienced infantry squad. It killed the officer, or the officer actually got shot at by the sniper. And this squad back here took pins and lost 2 men. So it's down to 8 men. Down to 5 men, and then the medium machine gun team was lost. So yeah, so again, I'm sorry for the confusion. I'm sorry that I didn't film that turn, but like I said, it's just been chaos. As you can see, it's been very, very action-packed. So anyway, we're in the middle of turn 4. We're going to finish it out, and then I'll let you know what happened after that, and we will crack on with the game. Okay, stay tuned. All right, so we are back after the end of turn 4. Man, so even in just that little bit of the rest of that turn, a lot happened. So almost immediately after I stopped taping, these men who were on ambush all of a sudden saw a Stug come around the corner here and open fire at this building, but it missed with everything, so they're safe for the time being. The Fallschirmjäger just moved up and took up position behind this wall. Meanwhile, the Sherman tank rolled around and fired at this Hanomag that had opened fire on these men, killing 1. The truck, when it saw the Stug, it couldn't really reverse because there was a Stug right behind it, so it tore up the road towards what it perceived to be the American lines and took fire from this squad still hidden in the hills, so that popped their hidden. They're finally able to be seen, but it completely knocked out the truck. So the truck has just become a flaming wreck in the road. Meanwhile, over here, I think I covered all of this in the last video, but the officer did move up. Not really the officer, just the officer's assistant has gotten very brave all of a sudden, and he's run up in front of his men. He took 2 shots with his submachine gun at this building, but didn't manage to hit anybody. So I think that's where we stand now for the turn. We're going to go ahead and play turn 5. The attack is commencing over here, but the men in this house are in trouble, and they've lost their transport unit. I should also point out that the medics are making their way across the field right now, thinking that there's a good chance that they will be needed. They're not even going to stop and help the men in the flaming truck. They're just going to get to the hill, and we're going to go ahead and play that turn, and we'll let you know how it goes. So stay tuned. All right, guys, we're back after bloody turn 5. Men inside the building, things are not looking so good for them. Earlier in the turn, the Stug rolled around the corner, or actually it was already there, but it fired directly into the building, killed a couple men, put another pin, killed the sergeant. This squad right here moved out into the middle of the street, took shots at point blank range, and whittled the squad down to 2 men. I'm sorry, down to 4 men. 3 men. There's 2 riflemen and a BAR. And they opened fire at this squad. They lost 1 pin, and they managed to put a pin on the Fallschirmjäger and kill 1, but the Fallschirmjäger is closing in. It didn't go for the observer, who can still see the field, which means that the mortar was able to fire and completely knock out the Nebelwerfer over here. So the Nebelwerfer is gone. Meanwhile, we had a volley fired from the MG42, and as well as the men over here, as well as the Nebelwerfer when it was alive, and it completely gunned down the last inexperienced squad over here on this hill, tragically. So we lost both squads of inexperienced men. Meanwhile, the regulars rolled around here. They moved up. They were able to advance. They fired at the squad on the street, reducing them to 4. Then the attendant, the lieutenant's attendant, who's probably going to be promoted if he survives this battle, rolled up and or he ran up and he fired his Tommy gun into these 4 men, and he killed 1 more. So that's what's going on over there. This machine gun repositioned. It was planning to open up fire on the squad that opened up on the truck, but the truck is completely in its way, as you can see. So this machine gun fired at the squad behind the rocks and didn't manage to hit anybody at all. Meanwhile, this squad still did not pass its orders test, so it went down. It's looking like it's not really going to come into effect in this battle. The tank took a shot with its main gun at this squad, forcing them down. Didn't manage to hit anyone with all of its guns. So we're rolling into what is possibly the last turn, and we are going to play a 7th turn if we roll on it. Give these Americans every chance they can get to take this hill. But so far, there are still 2 German units on the hill, and there is a full squad of men who can retreat if they need to take up a position in that trench. So it's looking pretty grisly for the Americans over here, and definitely looking bad for them over here in this house. So we're going to go ahead and play this next turn, and we'll let you know how it goes, so stay tuned. All right, guys, we're back after turn 6. As you can see, the Germans have been cleared out from the streets in the town, but there's still a squad over here that pulled back from their position, and there's still an MG42 inside this house. So go over what happened. These men moved up, they assaulted the squad here, and they were able to resolve. They took fire from the officer team right here, but the officer team then got gunned down in cold blood by this squad right here. Meanwhile, the officer's aide, who really has just kind of come into his own, slid around the side of this building, put his Tommy gun through the keyhole, and emptied its clip into the building, killed one of the machine gunners. Meanwhile, this squad also received fire from this squad that moved up along the hill. But moving out and getting into the open like that, drew fire from the Sherman, fired its main gun and missed, but managed to hit him once with the submachine gun and pin, or no kills, but managed to put a pin on them. So they're very timidly advancing. Meanwhile, this squad, the Fallschirmjäger squad, has moved into the building, having successfully assaulted the squad that was in there. They're still pinned, but that leaves the mortar fully exposed from the rear, and it also leaves the spotter possibly in a vulnerable position as well. Meanwhile, the Stug, having disposed of this squad, advanced up, fired at the men over here in the open who had finally passed their orders test and run from over there, and managed to put 2 pins on them. I don't think they managed to kill anybody, or did they kill a rifleman? I don't think so. I think we just had 2 pins put on that squad. So this squad had been positioned over here. They finally passed the orders test and it ran out. That's about all they could do. Meanwhile, this medium machine gun has repositioned itself, and the mortar also fired at the squad over here on the side of the hill. Even though there's a Fallschirmjäger in the house, this man is just keeping his cool, doing his job, calling the shots for the mortar. So we're going to go ahead and play or roll a dice and see if there's going to be another turn. So Mark, you want to do the honors? 1, 2, 3, we don't play. 4, 5, 6, we play, and we play. So we're going to play one more turn. The Americans have one more chance to take this hill. If not, it's going to be a colossal military disaster. Somebody's going to get fired. So we'll go ahead and play this turn and we'll let you know what happens. Stay tuned. All right, guys, we're back after the end of turn 7. So as you can see, the field is full of carnage. Tanks are smoldering in the distance, but we've got an American victory up here on the hill, and the main force has been able to move through now that this hill has been taken. We've got the final squads that were taken out. The machine gun team in this building was assaulted by this squad standing next to it. These squads were able to both move up and fire at the squad that stood right here where this Jeep is at this point in time, as well with help from machine gun fire from the second lieutenant's aide, who's now talking, probably being promoted by the general here. And that was also helped out with fire from this squad, who originally was down here. So they were the ones that fired the killing shots. So we were able to finally remove the Germans from the hill. With the turn 7, the Americans, it was hard for them, but they finally pulled it out. Meanwhile, there's still a lot of wreckage on the field, and we'll talk about what happened over here. Fallschirmjäger tried to assault, or they actually, you know what, they didn't actually ever get a chance to fire. In fact, neither did the tank, because at the end of the day, the Germans took the hill, and we decided right then and there that there was probably no way that the Germans were going to be able to get across the field. So actually, I misspoke. So yeah, sorry that I've been so confused on this particular battle report, guys. It just, like I said, it was an insane battle. You know, sometimes you get really into the battle and you just kind of forget what's going on because just so many things are happening all at once. But hopefully we did a good job of telling the story, and hopefully the pictures help and the effects. We're going to keep on exploring the Sicilian and Italian theaters. So if you guys like this, be sure to leave us a comment and subscribe. And as always, be sure to follow us on the Texas Bolt Action Facebook page and say hi. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thanks, Mark, for playing, and we'll see you guys again soon. Take care.